birthday, bitch. And I am 28. I will smack a big bitch. What that bitch wanna do? I'll send you right to the Lord.
Kansas City woke up to a shocking crime scene on June 25th, 2023. In the early hours of the morning, police responded to reports of gunfire at the intersection of 57th Street and Prospect Avenue. Multiple people were struck. Some did not survive. Among the names later confirmed was a young woman whose life had been moving forward in ways few had known. Her story begins long before that night. She had grown up in Kansas City, building a life for herself and her children while working in the healthcare field. Friends describe her as focused and determined, someone who balanced family responsibilities with her professional goals. She had recently marked a personal milestone, one that gave her a reason to celebrate. That celebration would take her out with friends on the night everything changed. By the time the night ended, 3 lives were gone and several others were left injured. The gunfire that erupted raised countless questions. Who fired the shots? What led to the violence? Why were so many lives caught in the crossfire? This was not just an isolated act of violence, but part of a larger picture, one that involves unanswered questions about safety, responsibility, and the presence of guns in public spaces. As the investigation unfolded, her family began pushing for change, determined to prevent others from facing a similar fate. But to understand how it came to this point, we must step back and retrace her life, the events of that night, and the chain of decisions that brought her and others to that intersection. What happened in those final moments? Who hold the answers? And will the truth ever fully come to light? If you are drawn to true crime stories that reveal hidden truths, we invite you to subscribe. Your support enables us to share real cases, raise awareness, and give a voice to those who can no longer speak for themselves. Before we begin, tell us in the comments where you are watching from and share your thoughts as the story unfolds. Welcome to Spotlight Crime, a place where we examine cases that shake communities and reveal what often remains hidden behind closed doors. Real stories, real people, real impact. Subscribe today and turn on notifications so you won't miss what comes next. Jasity Strong was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri. Her early life reflected the experiences of many young people growing up in the city, shaped by both challenges and opportunities that influenced her future path. She pursued her education locally, completing the requirements necessary to begin working in healthcare. Her chosen career was that of a certified nursing assistant. She worked in senior living facilities across Kansas City, dedicating her time to providing care for elderly patients. Her decision to enter this field was not random. It was motivated by her own family's history, particularly the experience of her grandmother, who had once been in long-term care. Jasity observed firsthand the way her grandmother had been treated, and it instilled in her the determination to ensure that others would not go through the same. She carried this motivation into her daily work, providing a standard of care that colleagues noticed and respected. Outside of work, Jasity was also a mother of 2 children. She had an elementary-age daughter and a toddler son. Balancing professional duties with motherhood was not an easy task, but she made it central to her life. She was known among peers as someone who managed her responsibilities carefully, making sure her children were prioritized. Her interests extended beyond work and family. She had developed a passion for makeup artistry and often expressed creativity through it. Community involvement was also part of her life. Those who knew her described her as reliable, ambitious, and family-oriented. What shapes a person's path, and how much do we really know about the lives cut short by violence? In June 2023, Jasity reached a personal milestone, her 28th birthday. Like many others, she decided to celebrate the occasion with friends. The night of June 24th extended into the early hours of June 25th as she moved through different locations in Kansas City. The choice of venues reflected a typical night out in the city. Kansas City's nightlife has long been both vibrant and risky. The environment included popular gathering spots, but was also marked by repeated incidents of violence over the years. Residents were familiar with the dangers associated with certain areas, but the routine of celebration often overshadowed the risks. That night, Jasity's group joined others in the Prospect Avenue corridor, a location that has seen multiple reports of shootings in recent years. What started as a simple birthday outing would soon turn into a crime scene. How do ordinary plans suddenly turn into tragedy? In the early morning hours, around 2 a.m. on June 25, 2023, gunfire erupted near 57th Street and Prospect Avenue. Witnesses described a gathering of people when shots rang out, creating immediate chaos. Crowds began running in different directions, unsure where the bullets were coming from. Multiple people were struck. When the scene cleared, 3 victims were confirmed dead. Jasity Strong, 28, Camden Brown, 29, Nico Manning, 22. Several others were injured, though reports varied on the exact number. Emergency services responded quickly, with police receiving calls shortly after shots were fired. Officers arrived, secured the area, and began tending to victims while paramedics transported the injured. Who opened fire, and why was this gathering targeted? Law enforcement immediately began processing the crime scene. Evidence was collected, including shell casings and possible surveillance footage from nearby businesses or street cameras. Statements were taken from survivors and witnesses, though many were reluctant to share details. Fear of retaliation often limits the amount of information shared with police in such cases. Investigators noted the difficulties they faced. Identifying suspects in shootings involving large gatherings can be challenging, especially when multiple firearms are present. The Prospect Avenue corridor has been the site of numerous shootings, making it part of a larger pattern of violence in Kansas City. Was this random, or were there deeper connections among those present? The consequences of the shooting extended far beyond the scene. For Jasity's family, the impact was immediate and long-lasting. Her 2 children were left without their mother, and relatives were faced with the responsibility of caring for them while mourning the loss. Public statements from her mother and loved ones highlighted the shock of her death. Her name was soon added to the growing list of homicide victims in Kansas City, a city struggling with escalating gun violence. What happens to the families left behind, and how do they search for closure when answers remain missing? In the months following her death, Jasity's family took their grief and turned it into advocacy. They began pushing for new legislation in Missouri, referred to as Jasity's Law. The proposal sought stricter regulations around open carry and concealed weapons at public gatherings, in hopes of reducing the chance of future mass shootings. The family spoke publicly, appealing to lawmakers and the media to address what they saw as a dangerous gap in current laws. Their efforts sparked debate. Some supported the idea, pointing to the growing number of homicides in Kansas City. Others resisted, citing gun rights protections in Missouri. Regardless, Jasity's name became part of a larger conversation about violence and legislation. Can laws prevent future violence, or does the root issue lie elsewhere? Despite the investigation, critical questions remain unanswered. No suspects have been publicly identified or charged in connection with the shooting. Whether the case is still active or has gone cold is unclear. This reflects a broader trend in Kansas City, where many shootings remain unsolved. The lack of resolution often leaves families in a cycle of grief without closure. It also fuels concerns about accountability and safety in the community. Why do so many shootings remain unsolved? How does the lack of resolution affect communities? The events of June 25, 2023, stand as a turning point. What began as a birthday celebration ended in tragedy at the intersection of 57th and Prospect. Jasity's life, career, and family responsibilities came to an abrupt end that night, leaving behind questions still unanswered. Her story is not just a statistic in the rising homicide numbers. It is a reminder of the fragility of life in environments marked by recurring violence. The investigation's silence, the push for Jasity's Law, and the broader issues in Kansas City keep the case alive in public discussion. But key uncertainties remain. Who is responsible for this crime? Will justice ever be served? And how many more stories like this remain hidden in silence? If this story has kept your attention, do not forget to like this video and share it with others. For more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind tragic events, subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated with our latest investigations, reports, and discussions. Thank you for joining us in this pursuit of truth and justice. Together, we can shed light where darkness remains. Until next time, Stay safe and stay vigilant.